I know I made some videos concerning topics related to this one, and I did say I was gonna make more when I made those videos. How long ago were they? Uh, what the what? 2022? I've been way overdue. The dark triad, or the dark tetrad, is a term in psychology that refers to a number of toxic personality traits that people may have. It includes Machiavellianism, in which people with it nonchalantly manipulates others to gain something for themselves, often at the cost of those others. Narcissism is an inflated sense of pride and self-love, in which people with it view themselves on a pedestal and simultaneously undermine others. Psychopathy is about having little to no social emotions and considerations like empathy, and people with this trait tends to act impulsively without considering how it might affect or be perceived by others. A recent addition to the three is sadism, a trait where you find enjoyment out of other people's misfortune. Regarding the two names, Dark Triad and Tetrad, I might accidentally use the two vocabularies interchangeably, but know that they both mean the same thing. As non-professionals who don't have great knowledge about how to interact with these people, you, and to many extent myself, will be better off avoiding interactions with them if we want to preserve our own sanity. The reason is shown in many studies and cases, as we very often get negatively affected by, say, a narcissistic family member who takes advantage of your success as if it were theirs, but pretends like they don't know you when you've underachieved or underperformed. Or you might be unintentionally dating a psychopathic partner who abuses you without feeling any remorse. Having a long-term relationship with them will most definitely harm you in some way, so unless you're related to them by law, it's best to avoid becoming a direct participant of that relationship. As I research about personalities and Dark Triad and other toxic personalities, I've noticed a common pattern in how you can interact with them on a healthy level. Due to personalities in general being on a spectrum and not like an on-off switch where you either have it or you don't, there are people with different levels of these personalities, and thus it was often difficult to distinguish if that person's antisocial actions were because of a rainy day or their rainy personality. This channel, Life Study Library, will introduce you to these interesting and educational information about science and psychology that you can implement in your life. Today I will talk about the common 5 stages these people with toxic personalities might take to approach you and gradually attempt to drag you into their storm. This is based off of scientific research, but do notice that this particular video will have a significant amount of opinion-based explanation. First stage people with toxic personalities take to manipulate you. Overwhelm you with love and kindness during the beginning of the relationship. So-called the love bombing. They try to gain control of your trust as soon as possible, and thus they pretend to be the best, most caring and thoughtful companion you've ever had. This is used most often by people with a narcissistic personality, so if you feel like a person who you only met recently is saying that you're the best thing that happened in their life or you're the best person ever, do try to mindfully pause and spot a bit of fishiness about their true motives. I think one specific indicator you can use is seeing if the other person's using examples when describing your positive quality. If their compliments are truly genuine, they'll most likely be able to give you examples of when they thought you were, for example, a thoughtful person. Another, a little more risky indicator is seeing if what they say is consistent. We'll be talking about that right now. Second stage people with toxic personalities take to manipulate you. Gradually scorn you. Once they know they've love bombed you and you're firmly trapped in their web, they'll start mocking or making fun of you, start looking down on you. Here, I think 2 indicators should be carefully examined. They'll typically either sneak diss you, as in pretending to be harmless while hiding malicious intent, or they'll pretend to be joking, saying that they were only kidding after harming you. They might even do these things while pretending it to be a learning opportunity for you. Any one of these have ample chance of belittling you, which is exactly what they want. Third stage is, they try to isolate you. This is also a typical method used by cult leaders as they try to sway you into their circle by making you cut ties with your other relationships and leaves you with nowhere else to go but the cult. They might suggest you to simply cut ties with others whom you have a genuine relationship, or might even threaten to leave you after making you dependent on their existence, saying things like, if you don't cut ties with that person, we're never gonna be friends anymore. By the way, this is one of the typical tactics used by salespeople to influence you into buying their stuff. Phrases that indicate some kind of a campaign, these "if you don't buy now, it'll be gone," is a relatively healthy, if not strategically clever way to make you feel like you need that item ASAP. Stage 4 is they enter a full-on insulting phase, often comparing you with other people. They might say, "Why can't you be like that other person and earn more money?" Or, "The other couple always goes to an expensive restaurant. Why aren't you taking me to those places?" What they're trying to do is impose feelings like envy or competitiveness, and try to control our behavior by lowering our self-esteem. Once our self-esteem is lowered, we will not be able to think calmly and become gullible for further manipulation. Sadly, this particular tactic is too often used by parents who, despite often having good intentions, shame their children in hopes of changing their behavior. Stage 5, the final phase, is gaslighting. At this point, the perpetrator will try to mess up our sense of reality in various ways. Examples may include them saying one thing to you, but later on deny the fact of saying that and blame the fault on you. Or they might plainly insult you and later on claim no fault. Or it could be after they've bullied you for a prolonged period of time, but when fought back, claim that you're too sensitive or it was all a joke. People who gaslight you will do this often to take control of you after breaking down your sense of self, and will claim innocence when confronted. A truly menacing presence indeed. One way you can protect yourself from these people is to pay close attention to the frequencies of them saying phrases like "you're overthinking," or "you being too sensitive," or "I don't know what you're talking about, you're overreacting." I was once a victim of such behavior, so I admit I have a personal gripe against it. And you too should pay attention to these phrases and avoid interacting with such beings. And of course, noticing yourself in any of these 5 stages of a toxic relationship is a huge red flag, so you should definitely mindfully watch out for these signs from time to time. As a good exercise you can do right now to not only mindfully assess your social health, but also with issues that stem from yourself, I recommend you watch the Expressive Writing series. These videos here will talk about an activity called Expressive Writing, where you take some time to mindfully write about your emotions or any other stuff that's going on in your life. You can watch the videos to find out the details, but essentially, becoming mindful of your life and people you surround yourself with is a good way to calmly assess and construct actionable steps to fix or improve them. And according to science, a really good method of practice is called expressive writing. If you're interested, go watch. And a book I recommend you read is called In Sheep's Clothing: Understanding and Dealing with Manipulative People by George K. Simon. This book talks about the dangers of manipulators, people who pretend to be in favor of you but is secretly trying to take control of your actions and make you into their obedient puppet. One of the real issues why escaping or fixing this toxic bond is difficult is because manipulation is rarely noticed by the bystanders. So if you try defending yourself by escaping that relationship, you'll most likely also lose the trust of everyone else in the group. The author uses evidence from clinical psychology to help you defend against that mental violence. Other titles of similar topic are also in my description. If you want to learn more about this interesting and important science and psychology that will not only assist you towards greatness, but also protects you from demise, check out more videos from this channel and make sure to like, subscribe, and share Life Study Library.